This is Noah. Tonight on Shadowy Sunday, we step into the space between ordinary and unexplainable, where late-night sounds and sudden shadows take shape. Settle in and listen closely. I didn't expect moving in to be anything more than boxes and forgotten mugs. It was the kind of new that smells like paint and optimism. The beginning of the year, a small apartment, my partner, and our little boy trying to make a home. For months, it was exactly that. Quiet mornings, rushed dinners, the small routines that build a life. Nothing strange, nothing we couldn't explain. And then, one afternoon after a funeral, everything shifted. We'd gone to visit her grandmother's grave, a long, slow day that ended with us standing in the soft dirt, hands cold, voices low. Grief has this way of following you like a shadow, the kind you can feel at the back of your neck. We drove away, talking about small things, the kind of talk that keeps you from unraveling. Our son, who usually stares at his window stickers or hums to himself, suddenly started to cry, not the usual upset tear cry. He looked to the side, fixed on something we couldn't see, and his sobs were the kind that come from a place too big for a child to explain. We asked him what was wrong. He pointed to the empty space beside him and kept sobbing until we left the cemetery lights behind. When we got home, we brushed it off as exhaustion, as sadness carried in the car, as a child's strange reaction to a grown-up day. Later that night, something else happened. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the television murmuring, and on a half-joking impulse, we said out loud, "If you want to show us a sign, do it now." The radio, which we'd left tuned to a soft station, clicked off, then on, then off again, like a small, deliberate answer. We laughed it off at first, and then later, in the shower, there was a sound that made us both freeze. Not a full voice, but the clear impression someone else was present. Towels forgotten, we stood wrapped in robes, and tried to piece together whether we'd both heard the same thing. We both had. We listened for the pipes to clear, for the house to explain itself. Nothing. The bathroom stayed stubbornly ordinary. For a while, the odd happenings became an inside joke. We invented theories to keep it light. The house liked dramatic timing, or our son had sensitive ears, or grief had thinned the air around us. Months went by, the normal rhythms resumed. We slept, we laughed, we learned where the light switch was in the hallway, and which neighbor kept a clanging bike in his hall. Then, a few nights ago, the crying began again. This time it wouldn't stop. He'd look to the side, eyes wide and bright, and then begin to sob as if he could see someone sitting on the couch or standing at the foot of the bed. It happened on and off for the entire night. We held him, soothed him, sang the same nursery songs until our throats were dry. He would settle, drifting to sleep in our arms, and then wake with that same rigid stare moments later. I felt helpless in a way I hadn't before. The house that had been scaffolding for our life started to feel like a riddle we couldn't solve. We tried every practical comfort, extra blankets, a nightlight, familiar stories, nothing dissolved, that look in his eyes. And then tonight at 3 a.m., something loud and impossible happened. I had been up, pacing, trying to keep the apartment calm. After a long night, I went to the bathroom and got some water. The apartment was quiet in that heavy, almost holy way that makes small sounds seem huge. When I returned to the bedroom, there was a bang so loud it knocked the breath from me. A heavy, thunderous sound like something enormous falling. I froze. It echoed through the walls. For a second, I couldn't tell if my heart was louder than the sound or if the sound had been louder than everything else. I checked the obvious places. No overturned lamp, no broken picture frames, nothing on the floor but the small rug I had left by the bed. I walked through every room, lights on, voice taut. I called my partner's name. She came out of the living room, eyes wide, and asked if I'd dropped something, if I'd heard it too. I had. I told her the spot where the sound seemed to land, the corner by the window, but there was nothing there. You tell yourself the rational things. Maybe the building settled, maybe a pipe blew, maybe someone upstairs dropped something massive, but every practical explanation ricocheted off the same hard fact. This bang had the weight of a falling heavy thing, and yet nothing had fallen. Our son was awake now, watching us with that look, the look that had become unbearable. He whispered, "He's here." I asked who, and he pointed toward the dark wall. He was small and trembling, certain of the presence he could not name. I won't pretend there wasn't a part of me that wanted to run. I won't pretend I didn't think of every horror story I had ever read, but I also couldn't leave my son's side, so I did the things that felt like armor. Turned on every lamp, checked all the locks, and pulled our small prayer book from the corner of the nightstand. We said the words that felt like a tether to sanity and clung to them. The next morning, we called professionals, electrician, plumber, the building manager, to rule out ordinary causes. The electrician tested the outlets. The plumber inspected the vents. There was nothing obvious. We recorded what we could and kept asking questions. We also tried something softer. We talked to our son, gently asking what he saw. He described in simple, childlike words a man at the window who looks sad, and sometimes a woman who hums. He didn't want to be dramatic, he wanted to be heard. What I learned in those hours is this: when something unexplainable touches your life, the first impulse is to disprove it. We search circuits and pipes because admitting otherwise shakes the ground beneath you. But there is a kinder, braver first step. Listen. Listen to each other. Listen to a child who can't yet name fear. Listening doesn't have to mean you accept everything as ghostly or paranormal. It means opening a space where fear can be named and held, where practical checks and emotional care happen together. We also learn to act responsibly. Document what you hear. Take videos on your phone. Keep a log. Time. What was happening. Who was present. That log is both a problem-solving tool and a way to anchor yourself when reality feels slippery. Tend to grief. That first strange afternoon, after the funeral, wasn't an isolated moment. Grief changes the air in the room. It shifts how you perceive things, whether or not anything supernatural is present. Grief had left an impression on our family, and that impression needed tenderness. We reached out for help, a pediatrician check, a few family counseling sessions, small, practical steps that gave weight to our worry and turned it into action. By the end of the week, things had calmed. Maybe the apartment settled, maybe our attention shifted, maybe nothing at all changed. What mattered was that we felt safer. So what's the lesson? Do the basics first. Check wiring, call professionals, document what happens. Listen to the people around you. Children's reactions are meaningful. Tend to the emotional fallout. Grief and fear need care. If I have one final thing to share, fear loses power when you name it. Saying the word bang and admitting the night frightened us let us begin to act instead of pretending it never happened. When we told our son that we heard it too, he stopped feeling like he was the only one standing in the dark. I still don't know what made that sound at 3 a.m. Maybe I'll never know. Maybe one day I'll be hauling boxes out of this apartment and laugh at the memory. Maybe the memory will stay with me like a small, odd scar. But I do know this. We listened. We checked. We reached out for help. And we stayed together. That mattered more than an explanation. If the night leaves you with more questions than answers, don't dismiss them. Share them. Sometimes the unknown teaches us to listen, to care, and to stand together. And if you want more stories like this, like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe. There's always another story waiting in the shadows.